and where we believe that everyone has the potential to be a giant in their own world. Hang tight, because in this episode, we'll discover what it takes to be a true masculine leader, and it's more than facial hair. This is a show you're not going to want to miss. You're going to want to watch it. So it's time to wake up with us and remember to embrace your inner giant. Good morning, Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV. I'm Ryan Morris, or as known as Ryan the Lion, and the co-author of the 12 Journeys coaching and co-host of Wake Up with Giants TV. And I'm here with Nicholas T. Smith, the author of The Giants in the Smalls and the Art of Accomplishment. Boom. Who brought the Cinnabons, baby? we all brought our facial hair. We're all bald. This is going to be an amazing episode.
Style.
But
works for women too.
Hang tight with us, okay? We've got some feminine side. It's fine. Before we begin, Monday the 16th, I'm going to go through some announcements here. We have the Journey of Grief. So if you can join us, find us on Facebook, a Tribe of Giants. You can find the announcement there and the link. We're going to be in Phoenix, Arizona on the 20th and 21st. So if you're in that area and you want to meet up, find us on Facebook Messenger. There's links so you can join us for our training. We've got a live training down there. It's 100 something. How much is it? 200, 300, $155.
1,100, whatever you want to pay.
Cheap.
Yeah, about that.
But it's a 2-day training. So Friday night and Saturday, half a day. So, and then we have our SG group that's launching. That'll be a new time in February 1st. And do you have an exact time yet? Are you playing around with that time?
I'm playing with 11 a.m. Mountain.
Hoping that we can get some Giants from across the pond that want to join. And then, as always, make sure you follow us. Wake Up with Giants TV, Facebook, YouTube. Go on, click the subscribe button, and then hit the alert button so you know when we go live every single dang time. And then become a member of our global community of Giants today by joining the Tribe of Giants group on Facebook. You can see the links, and you can see the links. So that's as simple as it gets. Just that.
Down below.
I'm going to be like Anchorman. I'll read anything that's put in front of me.
I'm going to start sneaking stuff into your script here.
That'd be hilarious.
Poop mouth. He's got a poop mouth, right? Throw a swear word in there or something.
We've got a donation link as well, Nick. What is that? What does that help us do?
Helps us buy a coffee, maybe some dinner, some sponsorship and advertising for our show. So
sausage links or turkey links.
Yeah, if you love what we're up to and you want to participate in something giant and help us build our global community, then go to the link and donate whatever you're feeling. Any amount helps. What's up, Matt Evans?
Yeah, it's like Adam Carolla. He has you help keep the pirate ship afloat and wet their beaks.
Yeah.
So we don't have to have really wet beaks, but we do like to keep the ship afloat because we like what we do.
Pretty fun.
So there you go. So join us right now as we explore the steps that you can do to be a true masculine leader in your life. Nicholas T. Smith, will you introduce our guest?
I would love to. So we've got Sanyika, the Firestarter Street. He's a personal development coach and entrepreneur who helps men improve their marriages, find greater purpose, and step into their true masculine leadership through his company, The All-In Man. And so his mission is to help 1 million married businessmen improve the quality of their lives by going all in their purpose, passion, profits, and principles, becoming better husbands, fathers, and leaders. With a background in storytelling and experience working with major brands like Sony, PlayStation, Fox Network, the U.S. Department of Defense, Sanyika brings a unique perspective to his work. He also hosts the podcast, The All-In CEO, featuring top thought leaders, and his television show, The All-In Moment, which has a global distribution of 75 million people. So join us as we dive into Sanyika's insights on how to improve your life and relationships and become a true masculine leader. Welcome to the show.
Thank you guys for having me.
You're welcome.
You left one thing out, Nick. His arms are bigger than our thighs.
Tick together, right?
Tick together.
Huge.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't see it on camera.
We all look big in the camera. Like,
yeah, right.
Right?
We're friends on Facebook, and I've seen your pictures, and I'm like, whew, that dude is the guy that when the crap hits the fan, that's the kind of guy you want on your side.
Look, fellas, it's a pleasure to be here with you on a beautiful Sunday, wet morning in Los Angeles while everybody is scurrying and running frantic because we have a kiddie pool's worth of water floating outside. So, I just wanted to say
they do that here. All the ones that moved this direction in Utah.
Yeah.
When there's like a dusting of snow and it's like cars are crashing all over the place. You're like, calm down. This ain't snow.
Look, I get it completely, man. I get it completely. But it's a pleasure to be here. I know that we've been sort of priming and getting ready to step into this into the dojo, and I'm ready to get down. Yeah. So one thing I will say is that I always I love the fact that just really briefly, somebody asked me. He said, why do you how I got the name Firestarter. And I'll tell the story about how I got the name Firestarter if the time permits. But the one thing that somebody said was, he said, when I got to the decision point around the idea of Firestarter, he said, I don't really like the idea of, this guy was doing my media kit. He said, I don't really like the idea of being a fire starter. He said, I think you should talk more about your size, because I'm 6'8". And so, I weigh almost 300 pounds. So I tell people, so I thought about it that day and I said, let me think about it. So that night I went back and I remember, I talked to my mom on the drive home and I came back the next day to him and I told him, I said, man, I don't really like the idea of talking about my height. I said, because everybody can't be 6'8". I was like, but everybody can be a fire starter, So that was really the foundation of it. And so I love the idea of being a giant without necessarily needing to physically be a giant.
Yeah.
It operates along the same premise.
Yeah, you're born straight from the Nephilim, right? Direct bloodline. 6'8".
Indeed.
Yeah.
No heels or
heels or stools.
Yeah. Chihuahua. Like I'm 6'8" inside. Like I'm like 6'8", 300 pounds. Yeah, built like you, and then I'm like.
Well, let's dive into your journey, man. Let's go back in time a little bit. We like to start with a non-conscious phase. So a point in your life where you thought you were something else, maybe from conditioning, from culture, from society, family, even from your own learnings, that you were nowhere near where you are today, but you had an awakening moment. Do you have a point in life that brings up?
Oh, you damn straight. Of course, absolutely, without question.
Good. I'm glad to hear you're human because I was questioning it, man.
You are absolutely damn straight. I call it the rock bottom sandwich. I was at a rock bottom sandwich. I call it a rock bottom sandwich because I was already at rock bottom, and then rock bottom smashed on top of me. I was financially broke like 7 years ago. I was 35 and 43 now, or 8 years ago.
Yeah,
and financially broke, emotionally broken, 2 DUIs, girlfriend paying the bills, 40 pounds overweight, making $11 an hour working at a reverse phone lookup company, talking to old women who got their money taken from dudes on the dating website, and I was only working there part-time. Right.
Yeah.
So, so I was literally, this 6'8" dude hiding, right? A giant hiding in his life. And so the thing about it is that that shit it was definitely a little emoji, a shit emoji, and the thing about
it wasn't even frosted,
dude. Not even there was no eye. There were no eyes and smile on my shit sandwich. It was just fucking. It was shit
straight,
just straight shit. So the thing about it though was that at that moment what it did is it allowed me to step into the possibility of that awakening, right? So you hit an inflection point. And so then the question is what's the inflection point? What's the fork in the road? And I remember I had this really powerful moment. When I was dating this woman, the woman I was dating that I broke up with, which was the hardest thing for me to do. Hardest thing for me to do was to break up with a woman who I was codependent with. And not just codependent financially, codependent emotionally, codependent in every single way. And so the thing in that moment, I remember we had been in this conversation about the idea of working out together. And I was and we hadn't stepped into the idea of working out. Like, we talked about doing it, we had set it up, and then every time I wanted to step into it, I didn't see her stepping up. I didn't see her doing her half, quote unquote, right? And then I started to realize, I said, and then I started getting frustrated at her for not stepping into a practice with us. And then I think to myself, and I was like, am I frustrated at the fact that she's not stepping up, or the fact that I'm not stepping up? Who's really the problem? And so then I was thinking to myself, I said, the issue is not whether or not she is stepping up. The question is, am I willing to operate in leadership of myself so I can get to where it is I'm looking to go? And then I go, oh shit, I don't know where the hell I'm looking to go. And so radical responsibility is one of the first tenets of stepping into true masculine leadership. Is like, look, I need to accept full responsibility that I am the creator of my experience on this planet.
Yeah.
I am the creator. Right? So I am the creator of reality. And so I am looking at the reality that I am witnessing in my life. I am not mission oriented. I am not goal driven. I am not focusing on my vision. I am not stepping up in what it technically, and so that there's this cognitive dissonance in terms of what my nature is, what's trying to emerge from me, and the way that I am operating. And so the societal conditioning comes in, is that my mother is the two most powerful voices in my life were my mother and my sister. I'm the youngest of four. I'm the baby in the family. You know, I say God punished everybody because he made me bigger than everybody else. Like, but the thing is that
they had to pack you around, man. You were 6'8" at 2.
That's pretty small. There you go, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, those are the two most powerful voices in my life. And my mother told me how to be responsible. My mother told me how to be how to operate with alignment, right? How to go all in, alignment and integrity. Like that's what all in stands for. And those are the two aspects of any high-performing individual. But there's one thing that my mother could not absolutely do. My mother could not teach me how to be a man. She could not do that. My mother can teach me how to be a responsible adult, but my mother did not have the ability, and my mother does not have the ability to teach me how to be a man. That is only something that men can learn from other men.
I want to create a focal here. Okay, so you look at your conditioning.
Yeah.
So your mom didn't know how to teach you that. You didn't have that. You have this awakening moment.
Yep.
And this is something we see in our trainings here, is that when you wake up from your non-conscious state, right, your way of being that's been running your life, and you think it's everybody else's problem, and you're judging them because it keeps you from having to learn, right? And you wake up to that. What we see is a lot of people go through a shame cycle or a judgment cycle, right, of themselves. Or justification, right? They'll get into justification about why they are where they are and how it all came about. And so they stay stuck. So they go back to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any experience around that where you had this awakening and it's like, oh crap, right? And then all this stuff comes up.
So the awakening and then going back to sleep, right?
Yeah. Or just awakening and finding yourself in that judgment or shame, right?
For sure. Absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
As I am tasting and eating my rock bottom shit sandwich, as I'm literally diving into that, I told you, man, we were talking about this before we got on camera. We are not genetically designed to succeed. We're not designed to achieve, to move through all these challenges and persevere. Right, we're not designed to do that. We are only designed to find solace, to find comfort in whatever state that we are currently in, to retreat into the space that we currently exist in. And so that shame, that wall of shame that I needed to burst through to get to the next level in my life, I wasn't prepared to handle that. No way. And as much as I wanted to convince myself, I would tell myself, man, I was like, you got so much potential. You have so much potential. But here's the thing I realized, Nick and Ryan, you do not have potential. Show it to me. Show it.
Let's play that. Let's play with
Show
it.
me your potential.
Yeah.
Right? Show
Keep
it to me.
going.
You do not have it. You do not have it. It exists as a figment of your imagination.
Like a construct, right?
It is a construct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You
Beautiful.
do not have it.
Yeah.
And so when we are looking to move through the shame cycle, through the guilt, through the embarrassment, through the wounding from our childhood, through the trauma, through the shit, through the life stuff, look, I've had me for 40 plus years, right? And so I get to this awakening point where I get to wake up to the fire starter and the giant in me. And I get to wake up to this point, and you telling me that I've had me for 40 plus decades, and you telling me that at this point, I'm going to have the wherewithal within myself to be able to move through 4 decades of shit? Absolutely not.
Huh.
There is absolutely no way. You are not designed to do it unless you are doing it with others who call you into your greatness. And so the thing is that I don't have potential. I have proof. I have proof. I have proof. I have the proof that I am able to move in accordance with my alignment and my integrity every single day.
I love that all in, that alignment, integrity, and we're going to get into that. Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm going to hang right here for a minute.
So I just wanted to say this around this idea, because this is the thing, is that we have proof. So then I go, so proof with many of us exists as a successfully executed outcome. Right. So the proof is, if I say that I'm going to hit the goal, if I say that I'm going to hit the mark, if I'm going to hit $10,000, I'm going to hit, in a month, or I'm going to hit, 6 figures in a year, I'm going to hit 7 figures in a year, I'm going to, accomplish this objective. That's where we end up becoming outcome focused. And so my offering is that you definitely have the outcome, but you also have the proof that you are living in accordance with yourself every single day. And so the proof is that I get to live into what I see is necessary for me to be operating in myself, the steps that I take every single day to be in integrity with myself. And that, gentlemen, is proof.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. You know what I have? Chapstick. You talk about potential, and it's not something you can put in your hand, right? But we have all these things that we collect around us, and we use that as evidence for our lives. You say proof, evidence, right?
Evidence, right.
But the word success comes from a positive yield from our efforts, and the word failure comes from a negative yield from our efforts. And so as we're out there acting and doing things, we create this evidence for things. But some of that evidence is subjective, because we might look at our failures and call that a failure where somebody else calls that a success or a learning opportunity, right? So there's this whole subjective and relative experience going, a relative in comparison to others, subjective from our own perspective.
Agreed.
And so we get into this space of waking up, right? And so you're a giant in your world, but you're playing small, right? You're not seeing your proof. Let's call it that way. I love that idea. And so you're playing small. And so when you wake up to that, you go into that shame cycle. What we see is people go into grief. They go into a sadness and a deep state of depression over what is not. Mm-hmm. And then moving through that, talk us through that. How did you move through? And I'd imagine you went through some form of grief and sadness over what was not in your life.
Yes. So this is, I think, a really important, this is a really important component.
Yeah.
Because I believe in God. And I believe that God is the universal creator. I do not have a religious designation on God, but the idea is I believe that there is a creator, the divine force of love that guides us through. And what I used to experience in that moment of grief is that, I would hear so many people who would talk about the pursuit of happiness. Like, I want to be happy. I want to pursue happiness. And I would think to myself, I'm like, the point in life can't be pursuing happiness. If there are all these other core emotions, what a myopic existence would it be to just pursue happiness? Right? So I think to myself, so what is the pursuit? What is the pursuit? What am I pursuing? Is it that I'm pursuing happiness, or am I seeking to be able to have an awareness and be able to be with every single emotion that exists that was created by God? Am I able to be with grief? Am I able to be in my sadness? Am I able to be in my disappointment? Am I able to be in that state without moving to step 2? Am I able to simply be in it? And that was the hardest thing for me to do, because the expectation was is that I'm not supposed to be experiencing grief. I'm not supposed to be experiencing disappointment. I'm not supposed to be experiencing any of these things that I'm experiencing. And so that creates its own suffering. And so I was suffering in that moment because I didn't know how to move through the grief, because I didn't think I was supposed to be experiencing it. I didn't believe that I needed to experience grief. And my offering is that if it was created divinely, why would it not be why would you not be eligible to experience this thing that was created for you to emerge? So the question is why is grief there? Why is sadness there? Why is disappointment there? Because there is a wisdom emerging from the emotion. There is a wisdom emerging from it. And I wasn't tapped into the wisdom because all I had was my own self-incubated thought process. I only had my own way of thinking. It was just me. You're on mute.
You got to unmute here, man. That's pretty important.
Nick had
hang
a
on
bunch
to
of
that
thoughts,
thought.
but we didn't get to hear him. So
Yeah, that was the best thing I've said, dude, all day.
Wow.
Amazing. You think about the thinking that you did have in that moment, right? Yeah. And it was everything you were ever taught. And so you're equipped with whatever you had at the moment. And there was this wisdom that was emerging, but you were unable to see it because of the way you perceived the world, which was all this practice and conditioning from your past. Mm-hmm. And what people tend to do is they allow that past to drive them forward as though that's who they are. Mm-hmm. And when you're saying you be in, distress, be in sadness, there's two versions of that I hear: to be in it, right? And then also being who you're being in it. Mm-hmm. Like your identity through that, right? And so I would imagine from that there had to be a level of acknowledgement that that's what's happening in your world. That's who you are in relation to it. That's what you're experiencing. That acknowledgement or acceptance that this is where I am, right? Does that make sense?
It does. And I think we can play around, like, just to add some more detail around it. But I want to take this like from the ethereal to just super pragmatic. I was trying to, I got to the point in my life when I hit that point, that rock bottom sandwich. And when I woke up in that relationship, I said, I need to do the most brave thing I can do. And I broke up with my partner. And I moved down to San Diego. I was living in LA. I live in LA now. But I moved down to San Diego and I took a sales job. And when I took that sales job in San Diego, I didn't have anything. I didn't even have a place to stay. I was like, I had no license, no tags on a 92 BMW 325i, right? The bad license, no tags, and $500 in my name. And I called my cousin who's from there in San Diego. I was like, can I stay with your mom? And he said, no, you can't stay with my mom. She doesn't have space. And then he said, but you can stay with my aunt. And I hadn't even met her. But her son went away to school at Humboldt University, and he said that you can stay in his room while you get yourself back on your feet. And so I thought to myself, I said, man, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go down to San Diego and I'm going to live like a college student. And then what happened, because I got an opportunity to work a sales job. And that sales job was a debt, basically a sales job doing debt elimination. And so I went down there, commission only. Funny thing about it is I was making $11 an hour as a draw. But the thing is that I had the chance to make $20,000 a month, and that was more money than I ever made in my life, right? So I go down to San Diego, drive. I'm talking about I was 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock the whole time. I was like, if I get pulled over, this whole jig is up. This jig is up.
Yeah, what's going on, man?
I was like, I ain't never been more 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock than I was when I was driving to San Diego. I was like, if I get pulled over, it is a wrap. So I make it down to San Diego. I get to my aunt's house. I stayed there. And then the next day I started work. I got there November 15th, 2015. November 16th was my first day. My first 2 weeks were training. They wanted you to get a deal a day. I got one deal in my 3 deals in my first 2 weeks. In my first full month, it was December to end of December, I became the number 2 sales rep in the company out of 28 reps. Right. And so I was thinking to myself, because I was like, I'm gonna open this place, I'm gonna close this place. I was like, you don't understand. I was saying this to everybody, even though I didn't literally say it in words. I was like, you don't understand. I'm different than you. Y'all are here because y'all got a job. I'm fighting for my life. I'm unstoppable here. You have no idea. You cannot stop me in this. And so I was like, I am going to recreate myself in this moment. And I recreated myself because some people were taking the sales calls and they were like, they thought they were getting leads. And I was like, no, I'm not taking sales calls. I am recreating myself through every conversation.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not trying to close a deal. I am studying the God so I can stay in my process and I can study the script. I am not having to go to my supervisor so I can get coaching. I was like, I'm going so I can learn a new aspect and a new technique and a new tool. I'm not going because I'm trying to, to accomplish these financial numbers. I am looking to rebuild a human. I was going to church every day. That's what I was doing. And I was opening the place and closing the place every single day. That's what I was doing. So that process of the awakening is that the first awakening I had was that I could do it, is that I could step in a process and I could execute a process and I could see myself in a greater possibility, right? So that was the first gateway. The second gateway was the one that opened greater possibility because 2.5 years later, I had an opportunity to exit the company. Right. And so they were going through an ownership transition. I used to drive to LA every weekend because I'm a board member on an entrepreneurs community called Metal. And so when I used to go to Metal every Saturday, I would go to Metal and I would drive up 4 hours from San Diego on Friday in traffic. And I would drive back down in the morning on Sunday morning or Sunday evening or Monday morning to get to work by 7 a.m. Right. So that was my weekends. Every weekend I was going down there. First started off in Greyhound because I didn't want to drive my 92 BMW. So I was on the Greyhound sitting next to the dude who was drunk and who, might have been cracked out or whatever like that. But I was on a mission. You know what I'm saying? I didn't give a shit about who I was sitting next to. I was just focused on where I was going and what I was up to. I ain't need no luxury Givenchy, Gucci slippers and nothing like that. I just needed to be in my space. So
nothing bougie. Right.
Yeah, nothing bougie, all that stuff. But I do want to give a shout out to the fact that I said Givenchy correctly. I do want some shout outs from that. Y'all can put that in the comments.
Right.
So the thing is that when I got back to LA, I stepped into entrepreneurship. And so one of the things that I think that men and the idea about the true masculine leadership concept is that one of the biggest misconceptions that we have as men is that the only time that we go through an initiation is from when we are a boy to when we are a man. And that is absolutely not the case. As men, we move through seasons in our lives. It is a season when you go from being a boy to a man. It is a season when you go from being single to being in a relationship. It is a season when you go from being in a committed relationship to having kids. It is a season when you go from any of those things. And the thing about the seasons is that many men are in the dark of winter and they don't have a coat because many men are in the turbulence of a context of a relationship or an intimate partnership. And the second awakening I had was when I was in that moment, right? When my relationship was on the line. When I came back to LA, got in a relationship, my wife right now, and I was in a situation where I didn't know how to step up in my leadership because I hadn't resolved the shame. Nick, I was making almost 20 grand a month, right? I was making more money than I ever had. Oh, I was crushing it in every aspect of my life. Oh, like I thought I fixed it, right? I had gotten rid of the right. Other ills and stuff like that. I gave up the alcohol. I did this stuff. I fixed it. No, you haven't. No, you haven't, because I was still carrying the shame and I hadn't gone through the grief. So then my wife, who's a coach and a facilitator, who was in the process of facilitating the group, shout out to Preston Smiles and my homies in that collective. And I said, you know what? She said she was co-facilitating their process bridge. And she said, I think you should go to this event. She said, she didn't say should. She said, I think that it could be effective or helpful if you go to this event.
Yeah.
Right. So I said,
no choice, man. You're going.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. I had 30 grand when I left my sales job. By the time I got down to the end of January, so it was June when I left. By December, I was down to $2,500. Would you like to know how much the ticket was to bridge? $2,400. I was like, I was supposed to be building up my entrepreneurial business. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't have community. I didn't have the support. I didn't have the help. I'm like, why am I at this place? So, and then she gave me that option, and I was like, fuck it, might as well. I paid the last $2,400, right? And I joined that group. And I tell you that after I went through that process, it helped me move through shame. Created so much space. Created so much
I want to unpack a little bit too, but finish out and then I'll unpack.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the last thing, I'll just round this thing out, is that there were 2 weekends, and one of the first weekends I was, the first weekend is bridge, and the second one is extreme leadership. And the first bridge I went to, that first workshop, I went to the event, and I had to move in these circles where I was sharing what was going on with me and where I was at in my life at that point, and I felt so ashamed of that, and I was identifying as my shame. I was identifying as it instead of just experiencing it or feeling it.
Yeah.
I was identifying as it. So, what shame is. So the idea is like, we have an 11-year-old. If he feels ashamed, he shrugs his shoulders.
Right.
So he's identifying as it. And that's what I was used to do. I used to identify as my shame.
Man, I can imagine, dude. 6'8", 300 pounds, identifying as shame.
Absolutely.
Right?
It's a super powerful awareness. And then as I moved through it, I basically just revealed who I truly was in that environment. And then I didn't have money for the next weekend, but a couple who were there said, you know what? If you come and work, because they got a chance to know me, I opened up, I was honest, I was authentic, I was transparent, I was vulnerable, I was all those different things. And then I said, and those are, by the way, true, meaning accurate, masculine leaning, action-oriented behaviors. All right. And so I was transparent, I was vulnerable, I was open to sharing, right? And I was giving them my full heart, my full awareness, like who I really was. And they said, we'll pay for your next weekend if you come and work for us as a salesperson. I was like, I learned my skill. Hell yeah, I'll do it, right? They were selling courses for high-ticket coaches, right?
Yeah.
They're selling courses for high-ticket coaches. So here's what happened. The next weekend, Extreme Leadership, what they didn't know is that, and you saw this on my speaking reel, is that in my when I do keynote talks, I perform using spoken word. And I had developed this campaign called the Teddy Bear Campaign, which tells the story of a school shooting from the perspective of a kid who basically lost his teddy bear. So for every kid lost in a school shooting, there's a lonely teddy bear. And so in that leadership component, we needed to raise money for a nonprofit endeavor, right? For a nonprofit initiative. And so everybody's talking about charity water and the LA mission and all this other kind of stuff. And then I'm thinking about stepping up in my leadership, and they go all the way around. They come to me, and I was like, I think I got this project I'm working on to help kids in school shootings, called the Teddy Bear Campaign. And as soon as I said that, this woman named Samantha, tall, blonde, beautiful, powerful presence, she got him, and she's like, I love that. And she started fighting. She was like, I want to raise money for his thing. And so she starts fighting this one dude, and they start going. I'm sitting there, I'm just like, what the hell is going on? And so the interesting thing is that I went in there, I paid $2,400 to get in there. And when I walked out with support for my initiative and a check for $27,000.
Man,
It didn't have anything to do with money.
Yeah.
It was all about how I stepped up in my leadership.
Can I put some process to this?
Please.
Yeah. Man, you hit it all. You've got this vision of who you are, and you go start acting on that vision. You're nurturing it, growing. Everything's a learning opportunity, but you haven't dealt with the shame and the grief. And so you're moving forward, and you're getting all this progress, and then that's still there. You just, in a way, we're avoiding it. In a way, you're growing at the same time, but you didn't take care of that, so it's still there. So it's that component of you that feels small still. So you get into a certain situation, people ask you what you're up to, and you're that little kid again with your shoulders shrugged and your head down, right? And you've got to face that giant, that lion in the field or that bear in the field. And so you go back and you face it. And the whole time you've got this vision, your future is going to be better. You're the one that's going to create it. You're going to overcome any obstacle to do it. You don't care who's around you because you got a place to go and a place to be, but you got to do this work, right? Mm-hmm. That internal work. I think Steve Hardison calls it frosting dog shit. When you don't do that work, you look good, but on the inside, you haven't done your work. And so, but when you do that work, and you go back to nurturing after you've started to work on that surrender and letting go of some of that old pain, there's the surrender on your pathway of creating who you're creating yourself as, right? These people come in serendipitously that you're not expecting and say, hey, let us pay for your thing. Let us hire you, right? And then you go to this event and somebody else wants to participate in your program. And that's what happens when you do your internal work. Is you can be powerful without doing your internal work. but you're 10x or 100x when you do that internal work and you go back and you start healing that inner stuff, right? Can you speak to that? That's the catching up I want to do there, is to highlight that.
Yeah, dude. It only makes sense to want what you want. It doesn't make sense to have it. It only makes sense to want it. And that's where I was living. That's the potential, right? It's easier to want it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to have it. And so when I'm in that, because the having it is that work that we need to move through.
Right.
And if I'm looking at my life and I see real greatness, and listen, I just wanted to take a moment to create an opportunity for people to exit this who are only looking for average. This is an opportunity for you to exit this conversation. If you are only looking for enough in what it is that you are pursuing in life, then this conversation is absolutely not for you. You will not understand where we are going. You will not understand what we are talking about. You will not understand what the intentionality is in this process. You will not understand it. So just to save you the pain of having to go through this, I want to create a space for you to exit. I will cheers you as you move through your journey in life. And I send you massive love. This is black coffee in a beautiful glass. But I wanted to just offer that. All right. Now, as we continue in this,
I thought you were leaving, Ryan. Like, I'm out.
Oh, bye, guys.
Right. Cheers.
Cheers.
So now, for the people that have chosen to stay, I just wanted to, I just want to take a moment to say that I appreciate you for continuing on this journey, and I just want to acknowledge that that this is the moment where we all get to level up. All right, this is the moment where we all get to play a bigger game. And to your question, Nick, about that space, about really revealing ourselves, is that shame work, that grief work was a foundational component that was so necessary for me to step in to a greater process and a greater possibility of who I could be. But I promise you, Nick, like even as I'm moving through it right now, and even as I am proof of somebody who went through it, I couldn't have done this shit alone.
Yeah.
I'm not designed to my natural genetic creation is to run the opposite direction. That is what it is. So when you witness yourself, and this is a moment for everyone to take an audit.
Hear this, because you're a big dude, 6'8", 300 pounds, ready to run.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Keep going.
Why would I? So explain this to me, Nick. Why would I want to create deeper intimacy in with my partner? Why would I want to do that if all it does is bring up trauma and triggers, and all we do is throw bullets at each other? Why would I want to do that? Why would I want to step into a deeper awareness in terms of what I have the ability to do physically in my health if I have never been able to trust myself? And every single day I wake up because I don't trust myself, because I don't have a process, I don't trust my vision, and I don't trust my actions. And I know that every time I run up into an emotional wall, I go back to the porn and to the masturbation and to the addiction and the alcohol and everything else. Are you telling me that we are designed to move through that alone? Are you serious? That is not the case. And so for everybody who is convincing yourself that is the way that you are designed, I'm going to just break this down so it is forever broken. That is not the way we are designed. We are designed to run the opposite direction, and greatness, self-actualization, whatever is at the top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, whatever is done through that is done through community. But not just the low-level people that you have been settling for with the vibrational frequency of your past and your inefficiencies and your ineffectiveness. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people that will pull you into the greatest possibility of who you could ever become.
We call that putting you on their shoulder, right?
We
People
stand
you on their shoulder and
on the shoulders of y'all, of giants. People lifted me up off the ground. Nick, Ryan, I'm not, this is not there's no mystery to this. That people, there's a quote by Les Brown that says, sometimes you need to believe in somebody else's belief in you until your belief is strong enough to kick in. And trust me, there were people that believed in me when I was living as my shame. And so I show up to you. I am not here as a coach. I am not here as an entrepreneur or a business owner. I am not here as a guy who is like, hey, I got this program. Let's just do this thing. That's not who I'm here. I am here as a messenger. I am here about somebody who has something very urgent to say. And if this is the moment where we wake up, then let this be the moment that you set your fucking alarm. This is the moment where you get to step into your greatness. I am not here for any other reason because I have receipts and I got people to pay back for helping me to get the fuck up off the ground. I am complete.
Beautiful. There's more to go because we got 20 minutes to continue with this. That right there is powerful because you are waking up. People put you on their shoulder. They stood up. They showed you who you were. They showed you what was possible, just like the character in my book, just like the guy that did that for me in a parking lot in 2009 when I was feeling depressed. I was foreclosed on. I was bankrupt. Like you, I was looking for anything to numb out, right? So I didn't have to face it. It took me 10 years to face it after that, right? To really wake up to what was possible. And so to be able to stand on somebody's shoulder, none of this would happen without all the people that have been a part of it. Our 4,300 tribe members, our 160 plus guests, our 600 videos, like none of that would have happened from the minds of Ryan and I. It's a community thing. It's a global thing. And so we have those receipts too. We have those debts too. And we go back and we put people on our shoulder because that's what was done for us to wake them up. The thing that I love about what we're creating is that not only are you waking up, but we give you a process to get to where you are right now, Sanyika. It's not easy, but it's worth it and it's doable. Right?
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom. Boom.
You didn't wake up one morning and you're like, oh shit, I got this figured out. Right? You were working.
Nope.
Yeah, you were working on your stuff while all that past was still playing out in your mind and in your body, right? And you were growing while that was playing out. And I think too many people think, well, if I could just get past that, then I could do something. Mm-hmm. Is that how you experienced it?
It is very much how I experienced it. First of all, Nick, I remember reading the story about your situation in 2009, and and it very much mirrors, my journey. Yeah. When I think about the idea of what leadership is in the context, there's two components. I remember I had this conversation. I was coaching a client's leadership team, and they just promoted a guy who used to be a freelance producer to the executive team. And he was like, I don't really like the idea of being a leader now, because I used to be one of the guys, right? Now I'm a leader. And he said, well, he said, I don't like being at the top of the hierarchy. And I said, you mean like the top of the hierarchy? He said, right here. I said, yeah. I said, can I offer something? He said, yeah. I said, instead of seeing leadership like this, I said, let's look at it like this. I said, where is the leader? He said, in the front. I said, are you sure? The leader is tending to the needs of the people. Wherever they may be. He may be in the front, he may be in the back, he may be rocking in the middle, but he is over here. So here's the opportunity that you have is that instead of seeing it like this, like people are trying to get to you, the idea is you are tending to the needs, you are nurturing.
Dude, I've got to share this thought while it's here. That word tend, right, comes from intention, intendere, which is Latin for stretch, tendons, right? The tender is the one that tends to those that are stretching. Mm-hmm. And the leader is the one that tends. What a beautiful concept right there is he's tending to those that are stretching. He's not entertaining. Entertainment also comes from the word stretch. It's in between stretches. And most of us are in entertainment mode. We want to be entertained, right? But a leader tends to, doesn't entertain. He tends to.
For sure.
She tends to, right?
Like she tends to. I call it like grandma. It's like grandma's house. All right. Does anybody in here have or had a grandma? Right? If you do, please leave a comment in the chat. And so the idea is that in this context, and the grandma is a representation of the matriarch and the patriarch and the family, the wisdom, the emerging wisdom, and everything like that. Is that when you go to grandma's house, no matter how much you have eaten, when grandma offers you food, what do?
You eat it.
You eat it. Right? So, it don't matter what you eat. I'm eating. I'm hungry. I just came from a buffet.
Hungry. Yeah.
Right. But I just ate. And the thing about grandma is that your grandma, if your grandma in this context as a representation, is that grandma not only tends to your nourishment, is that grandma also knows where you like to hang your coat. Grandma also knows where you like to sit. Grandma also knows, grandma also loves you, and grandma will also call you into your greatness.
Yeah.
Grandma will also call you into your greatness. And in some environments, is that the grandma sometimes is the most masculine leader. And the opportunity in this is that what I'm offering in this to everybody is that for the grandmas and the grandpas and the emerging wisdom in that situation is that for us to as we tend in our leadership, as we nurture, is that leadership is a form of, is that it is guidance and ownership. And so if I am in my full ownership, then I am creating my reality. If I'm my full radical responsibility, that I am the one creating my experience on this planet, then I understand that I am cause in that creation. I am cause. That everything emerges from me as a representation of God on this plane. Is that if God is speaking through me as a messenger, then I am cause. And so I need to operate as cause. And so if it is in my intention, then is it my intention to make sure that I am operating in the greatest interest of achieving a shared vision in this context, for myself, for my family, and for my future. And the wake up, the inflection point for most men is when their intimate partnership starts to disintegrate, is when their marriage starts to fall apart. And I was telling this to a client the other day, and I said, the beautiful thing about this is that what you get in your intimate partnership is your partner. This is a brush, by the way. I use it for my beard. But, the thing is that
it's for your hair, man.
Right.
Beautiful locks.
Your partner is holding up a mirror to you to wake you up to your radical responsibility. And so if I am in this place and I have not tended to my core wounds, if I don't understand how my movements, if I don't understand that, the reason that the core process to go all in, the reason that the foundation of this, you asked me about my site on my page, is because I got rid of all of my programs, all the programs. We were running group programs that we had. I still have individual clients. I have all this stuff. And I said, you know what? I said, I am going to trust in God. And I am going to trust that God has my greatest interest in mind, and that God will send me into the intuition and the designation of the direction that I need to go to be the most effective leader that I possibly can be. And the thing that he came to be delivered to me in that moment was that every man must go through an initiation. That's why the foundation, look, you want to go all in? We start with the initiation. And so, because that's what I went through in my life. And I had guys who literally walked me through that process, so that when the weak, small parts of me that were not living up to the greatest aspects of me wanted to retreat, then they walked forward and they said, I believe in you. And so they walked me forward. And so that is what we do. We walk men forward through the gauntlet, through the rite of passage, through the thing to get to the outcome that they are looking to get to. That's what it fucking takes. You must go through something. And so we give men the gift of being challenged. It is a gift to be challenged. It is a gift to be called into your greatness. It is a gift to be presented with challenges and experiences that call you into the greatest possibility of who you could ever imagine you could become. And the thing is that you would never be able to see it, because there's so many guys who go, oh, you know what? I'm already an alpha and I already know what leadership is. And that's bullshit. And I'm like, there's a difference between surviving something and choosing it as a rite of passage, gentlemen. There's a difference. You can survive something, and you can survive with the same phobia, fear, shame, guilt, like the sugar.
Sugar. A lot of trainings are around that tolerance, right?
Right.
Tolerating your suffering.
Right. And the difference is that I choose. It is choice. It is looking at Nick and right in the face, and I say, gentlemen, I choose this. Walk me through this. I know that I can create myself in this environment. And I need this, not just for me, for my family, for my kids, for my future. And I know for the greatness in me, for something that exists inside of me. And If I could reach in through this microphone and grab each and every individual that is listening and hold you up, I promise you that I would. But I am the sincerity and the urgency and the intention in this message. Please let it resonate so powerfully and land with a vibration that you have never experienced before, is that this is the moment. This is not just TV. I'm breaking the fourth wall. I don't give a shit if you're listening and you're just like sitting in the comfort of your own home with some hot chai on a Sunday while you're just fucking chilling. That is not my job. My job is to pierce through this damn machine that we are using and the vibrational frequency of these waves and deliver something to you that is so urgent and so important and so necessary that even when the people go, oh, you know what, that motherfucker just bullshit and I don't even know what I'm like, even through all that bullshit, is that this is the moment that you transform your life. There are tactical elements associated with this. There are strategic elements associated with this. There is a process. So we don't have potential, but we do have a problem that we are looking to solve. We have a process. We have a plan. We have the ability to be able to move, right? We have progress that we are experiencing through this whole thing.
Yeah.
We have all of those different things. Those are the things that we actually have. And this is an invitation that the beautifully framed and phrased through Nick and through Ryan and everybody who is a member of this community, is that this is the moment that we all get to wake up, self-included.
Yeah. Yeah, this is there's a concept that I want you to hit on. Sic parvis magna. From small things come great. Right? There's this idea and concept that there has to be some quantum leap, and there could be, from who you are to where you'd like to be in your world. Right? A lot of it comes from the tedium. A lot of it comes from the stretching every morning and getting up and creating your ritual and routine around who you are in your creation in that world, and leaning into the unknown when you don't know fully what's out there. And there's really nothing out there until you create it. Right? But the idea of sic parvis magna is that idea of small steps repeated create complexity in your life. We say, you know, in our program that giants still take small steps. They're just bigger, right? What's that bring up for you?
Sic parvis magna. You know, in 10th grade, I took Latin.
Yeah.
I tell people I'm a writer. I'm just a writer trapped in the body of an NFL lineman. You know,
nice.
I played Division I basketball. I was signed as a songwriter on Universal. I wrote for 98 Degrees and Too Short and a bunch of other people. But I'm a writer, and you know, and a lover of language. And when I hear sic parvis magna, I think about small steps. You know, and somebody actually put about germinating the seeds. And this is, and the small steps is like the small steps of the process. So immediately it's like that. And so I say the devil's in the details, but God's in the process. Because God's in the process, because the process requires faith. There's nothing that will test and that will reveal whether or not you are in trust and in faith than by honoring a process. And when you see yourself deviating from that. And so the person that just put about germinating seeds, my mom said to me one time, she said, I would tell her about things that I learned from being around other people or entrepreneurs. And she would like, Sanyika, I told you that, when you were in your teens. I told you that when you were in your 15, 20 or whatever like that. She like, I already told you that a while ago. And I said, Ma, I love you. I love you. You're great. I love you. I wouldn't be who I am today without you. And there's a distinction between between planting the seeds and fertilizing them and germinating. Right. It's the difference between the seeds that were planted and the seeds that got fertilized. And so what you were doing, Ma, is you were planting seeds, right? And many of your seeds took to fruition. Obviously, I mean, I wouldn't even probably be alive if it wasn't for the seeds that immediately sprouted. But the things that planted later through the small steps, right? Through the small steps of faith in between, is that what happened is that as I came into interaction with gentlemen like you, high frequency individuals who are up to big things in the world, who can call you forward into your greatness. Right? Yeah. As I come into to people like the people who are tuned into this, watching, right, who are listening to this, who are listening, not because they are necessarily coming and listening for what it is that I have to say, but because they are looking to see themselves through the conversation that the three of us are having, right? And so when we listen to that, and what's happening is that all of a sudden, because of this conversation, because of the love, because of the frequency, because of all those different things that are happening, all of a sudden seeds are starting to blossom.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the cold season of winter, where you may not have a coat, Nick, and Ryan, you may be operating without a little bit of a heater. And for the guys who maybe, in a situation where they feel like they are literally in a challenging situation, in a relational dynamic, because they don't have the tools that are necessary to get them to where it is that they really want to be, is that this is the moment where the seeds start sprouting. It's like, oh yeah, I can do this. This is where I see people that have done it. I see people that operate in the highest level of integrity in terms of who they are. And so we can get rid of all of the inaccurate assessments of what it means to be masculine. Is that, look, I'm not even going to get into any of the popular stuff, the pop culture stuff, but I will tell you one thing, is that your family needs your leadership, even when you run into people who tell you that you should not be a leader. You will run into people who will tell you that you shouldn't be a leader and say, well, why do you need to be the leader of the family? Why do I need a man to be my leader? What? Even when you run into people like that, I am telling you right now that you need to be a leader. I am telling you that right now, even when you run into people like that, because those people may be dealing with wounds that they haven't necessarily realized around leadership and how leadership has revealed itself or existed in the context of their previous relationships. And then it informs you. I will tell you, when people talk about the idea of toxic masculinity, I'm drinking black coffee right now. I tell you one thing, if somebody told me that this coffee had poison in it, I wouldn't want to drink it. Somebody told me that this coffee had poison in it, I wouldn't want to drink it. And there are so many different positive attributes associated with drinking black coffee, but I wouldn't get the benefit of associating with that. And when we put toxic in front of masculinity, what it does is, for the men that need to access this energy, it shuts them off, because they go, I don't want to be toxic. I don't want to be poison. I don't want to be like those other guys. I don't want to be like that. There are absolutely men who operate from a wounded place. There are absolutely men who have done awful things, and men have created some of the most amazing, magical things that have been in existence for the creation of this world. And if we recognize the light, we also recognize the shadow. And the shadow says that we have also done some. We have also been responsible for some of the greatest harm associated on this planet, associated as well. So we get to operate in this space of the awareness of that. And my offering around this is that for the men that are on the precipice of this, for the men who have not stepped into this game, this life game of double dutch, and I don't know if you ever experienced double dutch, some of y'all still waiting at the ropes. And so my offering is this, was that if you really want to jump into this, is that you have to understand that masculinity is the thing that will save your family. Your leadership will save your family. Your leadership will save your life. Your leadership will help you to pass on a legacy that's bigger than dead presidents on government manufactured paper. That is my offering. It saved my life. And if there is one human being that emerges from this conversation just with the ability to understand and to awaken to the giant inside of them, to the fire starter inside of them, to their true leadership, to an accurate representation of who they want to be as a man, then I have done my job.
Beautiful. You good if I read a poem I wrote?
Please.
It's called I Am Nobody. And there might be people listening here that think I can't do that. That's not who I am. And I want you to hear this. So as you hear this from you, of you are this. Okay. So I am nobody. I'll show you that's true. So hang with me tight as we navigate through. I am nobody. That's how it began. I was born in this world with no name and no plan. I was given a name, so I thought that was me. Others would say it, and I chose to agree. So I became that, or at least that's what I thought. But it was simply a blend of all I was taught. And I went on thinking that that's who I was, never questioning or arguing, well, simply because. This went on for years, a lifetime almost. I acted it boldly. I would brag and I'd boast. But then one day it all crashed down and I saw myself as I was, with a sad and a frown. And I realized right then that all that I knew of who I was and what I could do was made up, a fiction, a creation, nothing more. And that's when I realized I am nobody once more. Oh, what a relief that my past had no say in how I show up or who I am today, for I am nobody. Until I choose who I am no prisoner to any outdated program. I am nobody. And there's a gift inside this, because I am created, and all who I was, I'll dismiss. I am nobody. So today I'll choose me. I will be as courageous and loving as I want to be. I am nobody. What a powerful start, a place to begin. That's what sets me apart. And if I could share, you are nobody too. So who will you be in the new version of you? Create it, be it, go out and do, discover yourself and create something new. For you are nobody. That makes my heart sing. The beauty of it is you can be anything.
The beautiful, beautiful. You know, the linguist to linguist. I appreciate you sharing the idea. I am nobody. It's the greatest, one of the greatest gifts that we can give to ourselves is to release our attachments, and then to come back to the remembrance that we are not the things that we have, or the shame that we have experienced, or the challenges that we have faced. Right.
Yeah.
You know, I asked this guy one time. I said, do you have a soul? I'm just your words are just like ringing. And he said, yes, I have a soul. I said, no, you don't. He said, what? I said, you don't have a soul. I said, my brother, you are a soul, and your soul has a body. Our physical, we give too much credit to our physical form and the energy of being nobody, right? Nobody, right? Body, right? So I am energy that is moving through this frequency, and that will live in perpetuity. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. So I literally am nobody.
Thermodynamics, right? Yeah.
So
it's beautiful, man. What a show. Powerful. I'm going to go back and watch. There are areas, no matter how giant you think you've become, there's always somewhere in our life where there's more, right? The pinnacles to climb, they're endless. There is no limit. We cap ourselves. A friend of ours, Townsend Wardlaw, says that the moment you believe something, it's limited because of the nature of believing. We just boxed in the universe and said, that's all there is. Dusted our hands off, right? So the idea here is that you're never done growing. This doesn't end. There's more in you even. So even as we look at where you're at and what you've accomplished, we're not even close to done yet, right? And that's in each of us. That's those, you that are watching, that's in you. We're no different here from you, right?
Agreed. Yeah.
It's powerful, man. Thank you.
We are. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for the love. Gentlemen, thank you for just your presence. Thank you, everybody that's watching.
Yeah.
And I'm tremendously grateful for being here, for sure.
You're welcome. Is there anything else you want to share?
Yeah, one more thing. For people that come to me to come and check out my Facebook page and Instagram, and you'll see pictures of my watch. You will see me show pictures of my watch. And the question is, well, why do you have pictures of your watch? Number one, the primary reason is because my intention is to show up every day. So you get to see how I move every day when I show up in that watch. You see how much I move my physical body, how often I'm standing. It's an act in measure and transparency. And I operate that way, whether I am coaching guys on their business or I'm coaching my guys in their relationship mostly. And it operates in the context of any of those things. And transparency and vulnerability and showing up consistently is that you will hear so many people yap about how about being consistent, and you can't find it, right? Look, I'm the kind of guy you could find. You can come find me. And if you have lost belief in yourself, then you can lean on my belief in you until you're strong enough for your belief again. I
love that. Brian, do you have final thoughts here?
Yeah, man, there's so much in this. I'm going to go back and watch this several times in the next several days because of just the level of understanding and I was here before this, and now I'm here. And as I continue to listen and continue to hear what you said and put it into here and then put it into practice, I'll even go up and up and up and can continue to share that message with others. And if you thought this show was just about the masculine, you're wrong. This is something that every person needs and could benefit from if you choose. And that's the whole thing behind all of this. You have a choice. You will always have choices. You always have agency in what you do. No matter what you've done in the past, what do you want in the future? If you want something different, you choose something different. And there lies, I mean, everything. That's you are the key. It's here. And then it takes community. It takes grandmas to get together and to help you move through, to see something different, put you on the shoulder and stand up. So thank you for allowing us to be on your shoulder and to learn about true masculinity. And I'm humbled and honored to be in your presence and your vibration as well, my friend.
Thank you for that. Very much appreciate you. It's been an honor, man. Really a joy.
For those that are watching, thank you for being on this. Go share this. Like, watch it again. Go share this. Go put it on your Facebook profile. Share it through YouTube, email. I don't care, but get it out there. It's a powerful message. People need to wake up to their power, right? So go share this. You're exactly where you're supposed to be in your life. So keep stepping. Your future is going to come from you. You're not going to go out and get it. It's going to come and express from you. And so go get it. It's already there. We love you. We're grateful for you. Thanks for being a part of our show and helping us grow this global community. We will see you on the next episode. Go make it a giant day.
Love you too.